The stars looked different that night. Park Do-yoon sat in front of his monitoring screens at the Korean Space Defense Center, watching something that should not be there. His coffee had gone cold an hour ago, but he did not notice. The numbers on his screen kept climbing. 1 massive object, then 5, then 20, all moving toward Earth. Do-hyun picked up the red phone that connected directly to the Defense Ministry. His hand shook slightly as he dialed. "Sir, we have unidentified objects entering our solar system. They are not asteroids. They are not satellites. They are slowing down." Within 30 minutes, every major military installation on Earth was on high alert. The objects were ships. Massive ships. Each one was the size of a small city. They moved with purpose, arranging themselves in a formation around Earth's orbit. The world held its breath. The message came at dawn. It was broadcast on every frequency in every language, translated by technology humanity did not possess. "People of Earth, you are now subjects of the Velarath Dominion. Surrender your governments within 1 rotation of your planet. Resist and face extinction. We have conquered 47 worlds. You will be the 48th. The alien voice was cold and factual, like someone reading a shopping list. There was no anger in it, no hatred, just certainty. In the emergency United Nations meeting, the vote was unanimous. Earth's answer was simple. No Commander Thelvara received Earth's response aboard the flagship destroyer of worlds. She studied the primitive planet below with her 4 eyes, each one processing different information. Oceans covered most of the surface. Billions of life signs clustered in structures made of concrete and steel. The dominant species had barely left their own planet. They still used chemical rockets. This would be easy. "Begin the landing," Thelvara commanded. "Deploy 3 million ground forces, standard pacification protocol." The troop carriers descended through Earth's atmosphere like falling stars. Each carrier held 50,000 Velarath soldiers, trained warriors from 100 conquered worlds. Their armor could withstand most primitive weapons. Their plasma rifles could cut through steel. They had done this before. Many times the first carriers landed in major cities: New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, Tokyo, Seoul. The strategy was always the same: take the centers of power, break the governments, watch the population surrender. But something went wrong in the first hour. In Seoul, Lieutenant Choi Min-ji watched the alien carrier land in the middle of Uido, crushing buildings beneath its weight. She commanded a rapid response team of only 30 soldiers. Against 50,000 aliens, the odds were impossible. Her orders were to observe and report. Min-ji ignored her orders. "Load everything," she told her team. "Rockets, grenades, every bullet we have. We hit them while they are getting out of their ship." Her second-in-command stared at her. "Lieutenant, we cannot win." "We do not need to win," Min-ji said, checking her rifle. "We need to show them we will fight." The Velarath soldiers marched out of their carrier in perfect formation, weapons ready, confident. They expected frightened civilians. Instead, rockets screamed out of nearby buildings. Explosions tore through their ranks. The aliens scrambled for cover as bullets rained down on them. Min-ji's team killed 200 aliens in the first 3 minutes. Then the Velarath returned fire. Plasma bolts turned concrete to dust. Buildings collapsed. But Min-ji's team had already moved to new positions. They fired again. Moved again. The aliens could not pin them down. Around the world, the same scene repeated. The Velarath expected submission. They found fury. Kim Junho was a construction worker, not a soldier. He was operating a crane when the aliens landed near Busan port. He watched them kill his supervisor with a single shot. Something broke inside him, or perhaps something woke up. Junho did not run. He turned his crane toward the aliens and swung the massive steel wrecking ball. It crashed into a group of Velarath soldiers, sending them flying like toys. Before they could react, Junho swung again, and again. Other construction workers joined him. They used bulldozers as weapons. They dropped containers on alien formations. They fought with the tools they knew. The aliens killed many of them. But not before the workers destroyed an entire landing craft and killed 3,000 soldiers. In the Velarath command ship, Thelvara watched the reports with growing confusion. The humans were supposed to be primitive. They were supposed to fear advanced technology. Instead, they attacked with whatever they had: rocks, vehicles, even their bare hands. "Casualties?" Thelvara asked. 50,000 dead in the first day, her tactical officer reported. "The humans, they do not have a warrior class. Every one of them fights. Men, women, even their young throw explosives at our soldiers. Thelvara felt something she had not felt in decades of conquest. Uncertainty. The first week of the invasion became a nightmare for the Velarath. They controlled the landing zones, but nothing else. Every street was a potential ambush. Every building could hide enemies. Human soldiers mixed with civilians. There was no front line, no clear battle. Colonel An Suho coordinated the defense from a bunker deep beneath Seoul. He had studied every battle in human history. He knew humanity could not match the aliens in technology. But technology was not everything. They expect us to fight like them, Suho told his officers. Formation against formation. Army against army. We will not. We will be everywhere and nowhere. We will give them no rest. No safe place. We will make them fear every shadow. He called it the swarm doctrine. Attack from all directions. Never stop. Never let the enemy sleep. Use numbers and chaos against superior weapons. The doctrine spread across Earth's military forces. Humanity had 8 billion people. The aliens had 3 million soldiers. Even if humans died at a rate of 10 to 1, Earth would still win. But humans did not die at a rate of 10 to 1. Sergeant Lee Minho discovered something important in the second week. He killed an alien soldier and studied the body. The armor was advanced, but it had weak points. The joints. The neck seal. The vision ports. Minho taught other soldiers. Aim here, strike there. The aliens became easier to kill. Meanwhile, Kang Sora made history in the Seoul subway system. She was a university student, studying engineering. When aliens entered the subway hunting for refugees, she used her knowledge against them. She rewired the electrical systems. When 200 Velarath soldiers walked through the tunnel, she electrified the rails and the water. The aliens died in seconds, their advanced armor conducting electricity perfectly. Sora became a symbol. If a student could kill 200 aliens alone, what could trained soldiers do? By the end of the first month, the Velarath had lost 600,000 soldiers. They controlled only their fortified landing zones. They could not advance. They could not retreat. They were stuck on a planet that refused to die. Thelvara sent a message to the Velarath High Command, requesting additional forces. Human resistance is beyond expected parameters. They fight with a ferocity we have never encountered. They do not fear death. They welcome it if it means killing us. The response came quickly. 2 million reinforcements are en route. Failure is not acceptable. Crush this primitive world. But deep in her core, in a place she did not want to examine, Thelvara wondered if 2 million would be enough. She had conquered 47 worlds. She had never seen anything like humanity. On Earth, billions of humans prepared for the next wave. They knew more aliens were coming. They did not care. Every weapon factory worked day and night. Every citizen trained to fight. Children learned to make traps. Elderly people learned to shoot. Park Do-hyun, still at his monitoring station, detected the new alien ships approaching. He did not feel fear. He smiled coldly and reached for the red phone. "Sir," he said, "they are sending more. Good. We will kill those too." The war had only begun. The second wave of alien ships arrived like a storm. 2 million more Velarath soldiers descended on Earth, their carriers blocking out the sun in 12 major cities. Commander Thelvara watched from orbit, confident that 5 million soldiers would be enough to break humanity's spirit. She was wrong. Dr. Han Yuna worked in a secret facility buried under the mountains near Daejeon. Around her lay the wreckage of alien technology, pieces of destroyed ships and weapons recovered from battlefields. She had been a weapons engineer before the invasion. Now she was something more. Now she was humanity's hope for survival. The plasma rifles work on a contained energy loop, Yuna explained to her team, pointing at a disassembled alien weapon. Their power cells are more advanced than ours, but the principle is simple. We can copy this. We can build our own. Her supervisor shook his head. Doctor, it took them thousands of years to develop this technology. We have had it for only 3 weeks. Yuna smiled, a hard expression that had nothing to do with happiness. They had thousands of years of peace to develop it. We have war. War makes humans learn fast. She was right. Within 5 days, the first human-made plasma rifle was complete. It was crude compared to the alien version. It overheated after 20 shots. It was twice as heavy, but it worked. And humanity could build thousands of them. The Velarath had made a critical mistake. They thought their technology was magic to primitive humans. They did not understand that humans were tool makers. Humanity had gone from wooden clubs to nuclear weapons in 10,000 years. Give them alien technology to study, and they would master it in weeks. Colonel An Suho received the first batch of hybrid weapons with grim satisfaction. 1,000 plasma rifles, 5,000 energy grenades, anti-gravity mines that Yuna's team had reverse-engineered from alien vehicles. It was not much against 5 million soldiers, but it was a start. Distribute them to our best teams, Suho ordered, and tell Dr. Han we need 10 times this amount. 100 times. In the streets of Busan, Sergeant Lee Minho trained civilians in the use of captured alien weapons. He had 3 days to turn shopkeepers and teachers into soldiers. It should have been impossible. But humans were motivated by something the Velarath did not understand. This was their home, their planet, their children's future. The weapon will burn your hands if you fire too long, Minho demonstrated, holding a Velarath plasma rifle. 3-second bursts, no more. Aim for the joints in their armor. Here and here. He pointed to a dead alien's body they were using for demonstration. Do not try to be heroes. Shoot and move. Always move. A woman in her 50s raised her hand. She had been a school teacher a month ago. Sergeant, how many aliens have you killed? 234, Minho answered simply. Teach me to kill 235, the teacher said. The Velarath had never faced an enemy like this. On other worlds, there were soldiers and civilians, warriors and non-combatants. On Earth, there was no difference. Every human was a potential threat. Private Kang Sora had become famous after her subway attack. Now she led a special operations team through Seoul's underground tunnels, the sewers, the subway systems, the maintenance passages that connected buildings. The aliens controlled the surface, but below ground belonged to humanity. Sora's team moved through the darkness beneath Gangnam District. Intelligence reported a Velarath command post in a hotel above them. 200 alien soldiers, command staff, communication equipment. We go up through the service elevator shaft, Sora whispered to her team of 20 fighters. Half were soldiers. Half were civilians who had volunteered. All of them had killed aliens before. They climbed in silence, using alien anti-gravity devices they had stolen. At the 15th floor, they cut through the shaft wall and emerged in a kitchen. The alien guards died without making a sound, human knives finding the weak points in their armor. Then Sora's team spread through the building like a virus. They moved from room to room, silent and efficient. The Velarath never expected an attack from inside their own fortress. In 20 minutes, all 200 aliens were dead. Sora's team took the communication equipment and disappeared back into the tunnels. They lost only 3 fighters. Commander Thelvara heard about the attack and felt a cold sensation in her thorax. The humans were learning, adapting. Every day they became more dangerous. Her soldiers reported something even more disturbing. The humans seemed to know Velarath biology better than before. She was right to be concerned. Dr. Yuna's team had been studying alien bodies carefully. They discovered something crucial. The Velarath had evolved on a world with different bacteria. Their immune systems had never encountered Earth's microorganisms. While the aliens wore sealed armor most of the time, it was not perfect. Small breaches happened in combat, and when they did, Earth's bacteria entered. They are getting sick, Yuna reported to the military command. Their medical teams are overwhelmed. Earth's common bacteria are deadly to them. Even a small cut can become infected and kill them in days. General Yoon Taijin understood immediately. Can we weaponize this? We already have, Yuna replied. Bacterial grenades. They release clouds of enhanced Earth bacteria. Not harmful to humans, but lethal to Velarath physiology. We can produce them quickly. The ingredients are everywhere. The new weapons appeared on battlefields within a week. A grenade would explode near Velarath positions, seemingly harmless. No shrapnel, no fire, just a mist. The aliens would ignore it. Then days later, they would start dying. Fevers, infections, their advanced medicine could not save them from Earth's tiniest creatures. Velarath began to fear the air itself, Major. Songhyun specialized in night operations. She had discovered something important about the aliens. They came from a world with a 30-hour day-night cycle. On Earth, with its 24-hour cycle, they could not adjust properly. They needed rest, but humanity gave them none. Song's teams attacked at night. Every night. The Velarath tried to sleep in shifts, but the attacks never stopped. When dawn came and the aliens finally thought they could rest, day teams would attack. The cycle continued endlessly. Sleep deprivation destroyed the Velarath soldiers. They made mistakes, reacted slowly, shot at shadows. Some went mad, firing at their own troops. The humans had turned time itself into a weapon. Engineer Bayek Jiho created something that terrified the aliens more than any weapon. He built drones using a combination of human and alien technology, small flying machines that hunted Velarath patrols automatically. They were equipped with facial recognition that ignored human faces but targeted Velarath biology. Each drone carried a small explosive or a vial of engineered bacteria. Thousands of these drones were released into cities. The Velarath could not hide from them, could not rest. The machines hunted them day and night, tireless and merciless. Alien soldiers began refusing to leave their fortified positions. Commander Thelvara stood in her command center, studying reports that made no sense. 5 million soldiers had invaded Earth. Somehow, over 2 million were already dead, not from massive battles, not from advanced human weapons, but from 1,000 small cuts, ambushes, traps, disease, exhaustion. Her tactical officer approached carefully. "Commander, the troops are requesting permission to withdraw to the landing zones. They cannot hold territory. The humans are everywhere." "Denied," Thelvara said, but her voice lacked conviction. "The High Command expects victory. We will not fail." But in her core she knew the truth. They were not winning. The humans had turned their entire planet into a weapon against the invaders. Every city was a trap. Every citizen was a soldier. The Velarath controlled only the ground beneath their feet, and even that was uncertain. On Earth, Captain Lim Nari coordinated the distribution of new weapons from factory to battlefield. The production numbers amazed even her. Humanity had converted its entire industrial capacity to war. Car factories now built tanks. Electronics companies made targeting systems. Chemical plants produced bacterial weapons. Even toy factories contributed, making simple drones. "How many plasma rifles this week?" Nari asked her logistics officer. 50,000 and 70,000 bacterial grenades. 200,000 conventional weapons with armor-piercing rounds. The numbers keep growing. Nari allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The aliens had technology, but humanity had 8 billion people working toward a single goal: survival, victory. In the underground tunnels of Seoul, Sergeant Lee Minho gathered his civilian fighters. Many had died in the past weeks, but for everyone who fell, 3 more volunteered. The teacher who had wanted to learn now commanded her own squad. She had killed 41 aliens. "The aliens are trapped," Minho told his fighters. "They landed thinking they would conquer us in days. Now they cannot advance, cannot retreat. They are slowly dying. We just need to keep the pressure on them. Never stop. Never let them rest." A young man, barely 20, raised his hand. "Sergeant, when will this end?" Minho looked at the young faces around him. Students, workers, parents, all of them had become warriors. "When not one of them is left alive," he said simply. The Velarath had made their choice when they came to Earth. Now humanity would make sure they regretted it. 3 months into the invasion, Commander Thelvara realized she was losing. The numbers told a story of disaster. 5 million Velarath soldiers had landed on Earth. Now only 2.8 million remained. Every day brought another 10,000 casualties. The humans fought with a determination that defied all military logic. Thelvara made a decision born of desperation. If ground forces could not break humanity, orbital bombardment would. The Velarath had avoided it before, wanting to keep Earth's infrastructure intact for colonization. Now survival mattered more than strategy. "Target the major population centers," Thelvara commanded. "Full bombardment. Turn their cities to ash." The bombardment began at dawn. Plasma cannons from orbit struck Beijing first. Massive explosions turned buildings to dust. Millions of humans died in seconds. Then the weapons turned to Moscow, to New York, to Seoul. Admiral Park Ji-won watched the destruction from a hidden command post. The death toll climbed into the tens of millions. Her face remained calm, but inside she felt cold rage. The aliens had made a terrible mistake. They had shown that they would kill everyone. Now humanity had nothing to lose. "Activate Operation Skyfall," Ji-won ordered. For 3 months, humanity had been working in secret. While the ground war raged, teams of engineers and soldiers had been preparing for this moment. They had captured alien spacecraft, studied them, learned to fly them, hidden them across the planet. Now those ships rose from concealment. 50 captured Velarath fighters launched from secret bases. They looked identical to alien ships. The Velarath orbital defenses did not fire on them. By the time the deception was discovered, the human-piloted ships were already among the alien fleet. Lieutenant Commander O. Seojin sat in the cockpit of a stolen fighter, her hands steady on controls designed for alien anatomy. She had trained for this moment for 60 days, learned alien flight systems, memorized their tactics. Now she would use their own technology against them. All units, weapons free, Jiwon's voice came through the communication system. Show them what happens when they threaten our home. Seojin targeted the nearest Velarath destroyer. Her plasma cannons fired, striking the ship's weak points that human intelligence had identified. The destroyer's shields flickered and died. A second volley tore through its hull. The massive ship began to break apart. Around Earth's orbit, chaos erupted. The Velarath fleet could not tell friend from enemy. Their own ships were attacking them. Human pilots, flying with reckless courage, struck at capital ships 10 times their size. They sacrificed themselves without hesitation, crashing into command bridges and weapon systems. Thelvara watched in horror as her fleet began to crumble. "Destroy all fighters," she screamed, "including our own." But the order came too late. The humans had already done catastrophic damage. 6 capital ships were destroyed, 15 more were crippled, and the humans kept coming, wave after wave of captured fighters piloted by warriors who did not fear death. Seojin destroyed 3 Velarath ships before her fighter took a direct hit, her cockpit filled with smoke. Systems failed around her. She could eject, could try to survive. Instead, she turned her dying ship toward Thelvara's flagship. Full speed, full power. The collision alarm screamed in the Velarath command center. Thelvara's eyes widened as she saw the damaged fighter accelerating toward her ship. She tried to give orders, but there was no time. The fighter struck the flagship's main reactor. The explosion tore through 3 decks. Hundreds of Velarath died instantly. The flagship began to lose altitude, falling toward Earth. Thelvara survived only because she was in a reinforced command pod. She watched her fleet scatter, broken and terrified. The human had smiled before impact. Thelvara had seen it on the visual feed. Smiled while choosing death. What kind of species smiled at their own extinction? On the ground, Colonel Shin Woo-jin received news of the orbital victory. The alien fleet was in retreat. The bombardment had stopped. Now came the hardest part. 3 million alien soldiers remained on Earth, trapped and cut off from support. Woo-jin commanded the largest military force in human history. 5 million regular soldiers, tens of millions of militia, hundreds of millions of armed civilians. He surrounded the alien strongholds with overwhelming numbers. "We do not need to rush," Woo-jin told his officers. "We have them trapped. No supplies, no reinforcements. We wait, we starve them. We let Earth itself kill them." The Velarath positions became prisons. The aliens had fortified their landing zones well, but fortifications needed supplies. Food synthesizers needed power. Power generators needed fuel. The humans controlled all of it. Engineer Baek Jiho's drones proved devastating in the siege. They evolved constantly. Some carried explosives. Some carried disease. The newest versions could dig underground, emerging inside alien fortifications to release clouds of engineered bacteria. The Velarath could not stop them all. Inside the largest alien stronghold near Incheon, Velarath soldiers began to starve. Their rations had been calculated for a quick campaign. No one had planned for a months-long siege. Fights broke out over food. The sick were left to die to conserve resources. Morale collapsed. A junior officer approached Thelvara in the ruins of a building they used as command. "Commander, the soldiers request permission to surrender to the humans. They are offering to accept prisoners." Thelvara struck the officer, her claws leaving marks. "The Velarath do not surrender. We fight until death or victory. Then we will die," the officer said quietly. "All of us." Private Kang Sora had been promoted to lieutenant after her many successful operations. Now she led a company of special forces in missions that others called suicide runs. She disagreed. Suicide implied you expected to die. Sora simply did not care if she died, as long as she killed aliens first. Her current mission was to infiltrate the Incheon stronghold and capture the alien commander. Intelligence said it was the same one who had ordered the orbital bombardment, the one who had killed millions of humans. Sora volunteered immediately. Her team of 30 moved through underground sewers, using maps created by resistance fighters inside the stronghold. Yes, there were humans inside the alien fortress, prisoners the Velarath had taken, forced to work. But some of those prisoners were really human agents feeding information out. They emerged inside the alien perimeter at night. The Velarath guards were exhausted, sick, and starving. They died quietly as Sora's team moved through shadows. Advanced alien sensors could not detect humans covered in special materials developed by Dr. Han Yuna's team. The command building was a converted warehouse, reinforced with alien technology. Sora placed shaped charges on the wall, precisely calculated to create an entrance without bringing the structure down. The explosion was small but effective. Her team poured through the gap. Thelvara heard the blast and knew immediately what it meant. The humans had come for her. She reached for her weapon, but human soldiers were already in the room. A young female pointed a rifle at Thelvara's head. "Move and I shoot," Sora said in simple English, knowing the alien translation devices would work. Thelvara considered fighting, dying as a warrior. Then she looked into the human's eyes and saw something that made her freeze. This was not a soldier looking at an enemy. This was a predator looking at prey. The human wanted her to fight, wanted an excuse. Thelvara lowered her weapon. The capture of the Velarath commander broke the alien resistance. When soldiers saw their leader dragged out in chains, something shattered. Surrender offers began to flood in. Entire companies laid down weapons. The mighty Velarath, conquerors of 47 worlds, had been broken by primitive humans. General Yun Taijin processed the surrenders with cold efficiency. The aliens were separated into camps. The sick were treated but kept isolated. The healthy were put to work clearing the rubble their invasion had created. Every day more gave up. In the wilderness, some Velarath refused to surrender. They scattered into forests and mountains, trying to survive off the land. But Earth's environment was hostile to them. Plants were poisonous. Animals carried diseases. Even the water made them sick. Ranger teams led by Quan Minseo hunted the holdouts. Minseo had been a hunter before the war, tracking deer in the mountains. Now he tracked aliens. His team used dogs trained to smell Velarath biology. The aliens could hide from thermal sensors and visual detection, but not from Earth's animals. One by one, the survivors were captured or killed. Some died from exposure, some from disease. Some chose to fight and died under human weapons. None escaped. 6 months after the first landing, organized Velarath resistance ended. Of 5 million soldiers, 847,000 remained alive in captivity. The rest were dead, killed by weapons, disease, starvation, or Earth itself. Dr. Han Yuna stood in her laboratory, looking at a Velarath plasma rifle mounted on the wall. A trophy from the first one she had taken apart. Around her, engineers worked on human versions of alien technology, faster than light drives, advanced materials, energy weapons. Humanity had paid in blood, but gained knowledge worth centuries of research. Captain Park Do-yun, still at his monitoring station, watched space with wary eyes. The Velarath fleet had retreated beyond the solar system, but they were still out there. He knew this was not over. The Dominion would not forget this defeat. The Velarath High Command received Thelvara's reports with disbelief. 5 million soldiers defeated by primitives? Impossible. There had to be another explanation. Perhaps the commander had gone mad. Perhaps she had betrayed them. The Dominion did not accept failure. 3 months after the ground war ended, new ships appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. Not an invasion fleet this time. These were diplomatic vessels transmitting peaceful intentions on all frequencies. They requested negotiation for the return of prisoners. Ambassador Cho Yeji prepared for the meeting with careful consideration. She had been a diplomat before the war, skilled in negotiation and compromise. The war had not changed her skills, but it had changed her perspective. She understood now that some enemies only respected strength. The meeting took place on a neutral station that humans had built from captured Velarath technology. Yeji sat across from 3 Velarath diplomats, their 4 eyes studying her with what she thought might be fear. "We come to discuss terms for the return of our soldiers," the lead diplomat said through a translation device. "What compensation does Earth require?" Yeji smiled, but it was not a friendly expression. "Compensation? You invade our world, kill 200 million of our people, destroy our cities. And you speak of compensation as if this was a business transaction? The diplomat shifted uncomfortably. The Velarath Dominion is prepared to offer significant resources, technology, territory, and other systems. Name your price. Our price, Yeji said softly, is everything. Complete and total peace treaty. Your empire will never approach Earth or any human colony again. Full reparations for damages. Complete technology transfer of all your advancements. And public acknowledgement that you were defeated by a species you considered primitive. The diplomats recoiled. Impossible. The Dominion does not admit defeat. Then your soldiers remain our prisoners, Yeji replied. We will treat them well, feed them, house them, and they will never see their homes again. The negotiation lasted for 3 days. The Velarath argued, threatened, pleaded. But Yeji did not move. She had witnessed the orbital bombardment, had seen the bodies of children in the rubble. She felt no mercy. In the end, the Dominion agreed to everything. The treaty was signed in Earth's orbit, broadcast to every world the Velarath controlled. The mighty Dominion, conquerors of 47 worlds, had surrendered to humans. But Dr. Nam Suman discovered something that changed everything. Suman specialized in alien biology and had been studying the prisoners carefully. She ran standard health checks on Velarath soldiers before they were to be released. What she found made her blood freeze. Every single prisoner carried a pathogen, a carefully engineered virus that was dormant, but would activate upon returning to Velarath worlds. The virus was designed to be harmless to Velarath biology, but would mutate when exposed to Earth's environment. The mutated form would be carried back to Earth by any contact between the species. It was a biological weapon. The Dominion had planned to sacrifice their own soldiers, get them back to Velarath space, activate the pathogen, then let it mutate and spread. The returning soldiers would be heroes for a short time, then carriers of a plague that would devastate Earth. Suman brought her findings to President Han Dongwu immediately. The president sat in his office, looking at the evidence with cold fury. They were willing to kill their own soldiers, use them as weapons. The pathogen is sophisticated, Suman explained. It would have worked. We would never have known until it was too late. Earth's population could have been reduced by 90% within a year. Dongwu looked out his window at Seoul, slowly rebuilding from the war. Children played in the streets. People went to work. Life was returning to normal. The Velarath would have destroyed all of it. Can we cure them? Dongwu asked. Remove the pathogen? Suman shook her head. It is integrated into their cellular structure. Removing it would kill them. This was designed to be permanent. The president was silent for a long time. Then he made the hardest decision of his life. Contact Ambassador Yeji. Tell her to inform the Velarath. Their soldiers cannot come home. The message was delivered to the Velarath diplomats by Yeji herself. She showed them the evidence. The pathogen, the activation triggers, the mutation patterns, everything. Your own high command did this, Yeji said. They made your soldiers into living weapons, planned to sacrifice them to hurt us, and they probably did not tell the soldiers themselves. The lead Velarath diplomat went pale, his skin changing to a sickly color. We did not know. The military command, they act independently sometimes. It does not matter, Yeji replied. The result is the same. Your soldiers carry a doomsday weapon in their bodies. If they return to your space, the pathogen activates. If they ever contact Earth again, the mutation spreads. They cannot go home. They cannot come back here. They are trapped. What will you do with them? Yeji considered the question. The easy answer would be execution. 800,000 potential bioweapons eliminated. No risk, no problem. But that was what the Dominion would do. Humanity had to be better. We will keep them alive, Yeji decided. Permanent quarantine. Islands in the Pacific. Places where they can live but never leave. We will provide for them. Medical care, food, shelter. But they will never see their homes again. The diplomat looked at her with something like respect. You are giving them life when you could choose death. Why? Because we are not you, Yeji answered simply. The decision was announced to Earth and to the Velarath Dominion simultaneously. The prisoners would live but never be released. Quarantine colonies were established on remote islands. The Velarath soldiers were moved there under heavy guard. General Jang Hyunwoo oversaw the transfer. He had fought the Velarath for 6 months, killed thousands of them, watched them kill his friends. Now he had to ensure they lived in comfortable captivity. Do you hate this duty? His aide asked. Hyunwoo watched Velarath soldiers being loaded onto transport ships. I hate that it is necessary, but it is the right choice. We defeated them by being better than them. We stay better by not becoming executioners. The quarantine islands were strange places. The Velarath lived in compounds designed for their biology. Human guards maintained the perimeter, but inside, the aliens governed themselves. They could not leave, but they had freedom within their prison. Commander Thelvara lived in the largest compound on an island near Hawaii. She spent her days writing, not military reports anymore, but history, the story of the invasion from the Velarath perspective. A warning to her people about human capabilities. She described human adaptability, how they learned in weeks what took other species years. Their refusal to surrender even when defeat seemed certain. The way every human became a soldier when threatened. Their ability to turn any environment into a weapon. But she also wrote about human mercy. How they treated prisoners well. How they chose life over death even for enemies. How they could hate their opponents but still see them as living beings deserving of basic dignity. They are the most dangerous species I have encountered, Thelvara wrote in her final chapter, not because of their weapons or their numbers, but because they are unpredictable. They will fight to extinction, but they will also show mercy when they could choose cruelty. They are capable of both extreme violence and extreme compassion. Never assume you understand them. On Earth, humanity began to rebuild, but the war had changed everything. President Han Dongwu addressed the world on the anniversary of the invasion's end. 1 year ago, aliens came to conquer us, he said. They failed. We won not just with weapons, but with determination, with unity, with the refusal to accept that we could be defeated. Today we remember the 200 million who died. We honor their sacrifice. And we make a promise. Never again will Earth be unprepared. General Jang Hyunwoo stood at the podium next. We have established Earth Defense Force, a military dedicated to protecting our planet from any threat. We have ships now. Real warships built with technology we learned from our enemies. We have soldiers trained in space combat. We have weapons that can reach across the solar system. If anyone comes to threaten us again, they will find Earth is no longer an easy target. Dr. Han Yuna announced the technology developments. Faster than light drives, energy shields, plasma weapons, anti-gravity systems. All of it reverse-engineered from Velarath technology and improved by human ingenuity. We have learned more in 1 year than in the previous 100, Yuna told the gathered press. War forced us to advance, to become more than we were. We have reached for the stars and grasped them. Now we will go there ourselves. The first human colony ship was already under construction, a massive vessel designed to carry 10,000 people to a nearby star system. It used Velarath FTL drives improved by human engineers. It would establish humanity's first extrasolar colony within 2 years. Captain Park Do-hyun, promoted to colonel, commanded the defense satellite network that now surrounded Earth. Hundreds of platforms armed with weapons that could destroy capital ships. Early warning systems that could detect approaching vessels light years away. We will see them coming, Do-hyun promised, and we will be ready. Major Song Hyun trained the next generation of special forces. Shiku. 5 years had passed since the last Velarath soldier surrendered. Earth had transformed from a vulnerable world into a fortress among the stars. The scars of war remained, but they had become symbols of survival rather than defeat. Rebuilt cities stood taller than before. Memorial parks honored the 200 million dead, and humanity looked outward with eyes that had seen the worst the galaxy could offer. On the quarantine island, Commander Thelvara sat in her dwelling and received a message from the Velarath High Command. It was the first communication in 3 years. She opened it with her 4 eyes, each one processing different aspects of the text. You are to be retrieved. A diplomatic mission is authorized. The humans have agreed to allow 1 ship to collect you, and selected command personnel. You will return home. Thelvara read the message 3 times. Something felt wrong. The Velarath High Command never admitted mistakes, never acknowledged failure. And yet they wanted her back after she had lost an entire invasion force. Why? She contacted Ambassador Cho Yeji through the communication system the humans had provided. I need to speak with Dr. Nam Suman, Thelvara said, before I agree to leave. Yeji arranged the meeting within a day. Suman arrived at the quarantine island with testing equipment. Thelvara submitted to a complete medical examination. The results confirmed her suspicion. The pathogen is gone, Suman said, looking at her instruments with confusion. 5 years ago, every Velarath prisoner carried the bioweapon. Now I detect nothing in your system. It has completely disappeared. Thelvara felt cold certainty settle over her. It did not disappear. It activated. The trigger was time-based, not location-based. 5 years. The High Command waited 5 years for it to activate and burn itself out. But you are not sick, Suman pointed out. The pathogen should have killed you when it activated. The pathogen was never meant to kill Velarath, Thelvara explained. It was meant to mutate in Earth's environment. But we have been isolated here for 5 years. The pathogen activated, found no Earth environment to mutate in, and died. We are clean now. We can safely return home. Suman understood immediately. They planned this from the beginning. 5 years of isolation was enough to make the pathogen safe. They sacrificed you for half a decade, but you were always meant to return. And if we had been released immediately to Earth orbit for transfer, Thelvara asked, the pathogen would have mutated, spread, killed billions. Suman sat down heavily. We saved ourselves by being merciful. By giving you life imprisonment instead of execution. If we had returned you immediately, Earth would have died. Thelvara made a decision then. I will not return. The High Command cannot be trusted. They used me. Used all of us. I request asylum on Earth. The news spread quickly. The Velarath commander who had led the invasion was refusing to return home. Was requesting to live permanently among the species she had tried to conquer. The High Command was furious. They demanded Thelvara's return. Earth refused. President Han Dongwu, now in his second term, addressed the situation publicly. Commander Thelvara has chosen to remain on Earth. We grant her request. She will continue to live in quarantine, but as a guest rather than a prisoner. Any Velarath who wishes to stay rather than return may do so. To everyone's surprise, over half the prisoners chose to stay. They had been abandoned by their own government. Used as bioweapons without their knowledge. Earth had shown them more honor in captivity than their own empire had shown them in service. The Velarath diplomatic ship left with only 400,000 soldiers. Less than half the survivors. The rest remained on Earth, building new lives in permanent exile. Colonel Park Do-hyun watched the diplomatic ship leave from his command center. The defense satellites tracked it until it left the solar system. He noted with satisfaction that Earth sensors could now track ships at 3 times the distance they could 5 years ago. Sir, we have Colony Ship Horizon requesting clearance for departure. His communications officer reported. Granted, Do-hyun replied. Safe journey. The Horizon was humanity's 7th colony ship. Each carried 10,000 people and everything needed to establish a new world. Human colonies now existed in 4 star systems. The galaxy was learning that humanity was not confined to one planet anymore. Dr. Han Yuna had become the director of Earth's Technology Development Institute. Her team had moved beyond simply copying Velarath technology. They were innovating, creating designs the aliens had never imagined. Her latest project sat in a massive hangar, gleaming under construction lights. A warship 3 times larger than anything the Velarath had built. It used zero-point energy, a power source Yuna's team had developed from theoretical physics. Weapons that could crack a planet, shields that could withstand a sun's heat. We call it Reckoning, Yuna told the gathered military leaders. It will be ready in 2 years. The first true human dreadnought. No alien technology, pure human design. General Jang Hyunwoo, now Supreme Commander of Earth Defense Force, studied the ship designs. One of these could have defeated the entire Velarath invasion fleet. Yes, Yuna agreed. And we are building 5 of them. The galaxy was changing. News of humanity's victory had spread to other species. Some viewed humans with fear, others with respect. A few saw opportunity for alliance. Earth received diplomatic overtures from a dozen civilizations. Ambassador Cho Yeji, now Earth's chief diplomat, negotiated with species from across the galaxy. She signed trade agreements, defense pacts, scientific exchanges. Humanity was no longer alone and vulnerable, but Yeji never forgot the lessons of the Velarath invasion. Every agreement included military clauses. Every alliance had limits. Earth would cooperate with other species, but would never again depend on them for survival. In the rebuilt city of Seoul, Major Song Hyun trained foreign officers in human combat doctrine. Military observers from allied species came to learn how humanity had defeated a superior force. Song taught them the principles that had won the war. Accept that you will take casualties. Song explained to a class of alien officers. Do not fear losses. Fear defeat. The Velarath wanted to conquer us with minimal losses. We were willing to lose everything to win. That determination decided the war before the first shot was fired. The alien officers took notes, but Song could see doubt in their eyes. Their species did not think like humans, did not have the same desperation to survive. She wondered if they could learn, or if they would need their own catastrophe to understand. Sergeant Lee Minho had retired from active service, but still taught at the military academy. His students called him the Alien Killer because of his 234 confirmed kills during the invasion. Minho never bragged about the number. He remembered every face, every death. War is not glorious, Minho told his students. It is necessary sometimes, but it always costs more than you want to pay. Fight when you must, but make sure it is really necessary before you pull that trigger. Captain Kang Sora commanded the warship Indomitable on patrol at the edge of human space. Her ship was part of the early warning network, watching for any threats approaching Earth or the colonies. So far, the galaxy had remained peaceful, but Sora stayed ready. She sometimes thought about the Velarath she had killed, the 200 in the subway, the dozens more in later battles. She felt no guilt. They had come to conquer. She had defended her home, but she also felt no pride. Death was death, necessary or not. Captain, we are detecting an unidentified vessel, her sensor officer reported. Not Velarath design, unknown configuration. Sora's hand moved to the weapons controls out of habit. Battle stations. But do not fire unless fired upon. Hail them. Let us see who our new friends are. The ship responded. It was from a species called the Tharoon, a peaceful trading civilization. They had heard of humanity's victory over the Velarath and wanted to establish relations. Sora escorted them to Earth, weapons ready but unused. This happened more often now. New species came to meet humanity, some out of curiosity, some out of fear, some seeking allies against their own enemies. The Velarath invasion had announced humanity's presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. Thelvara watched all of this from her island. She had privileges now as a guest rather than a prisoner, communication access, news feeds from Earth and beyond. She saw humanity spreading across the stars and felt a strange mixture of emotions. She had tried to conquer them, had killed millions of them. Now she watched them become a galactic power. Part of her felt professional admiration. Another part felt something like regret. If the Dominion had approached peacefully, humanity might have been a valuable ally. Instead, they had created a rival. Thelvara continued writing. Her histories had been published on Earth and translated into hundreds of languages. Some humans hated her for what she had done. Others respected her honesty about the war. She did not seek forgiveness. She simply tried to ensure the truth was recorded. Let others learn from our mistakes, Thelvara wrote in her latest work. The Velarath came to conquer a primitive world. We found instead a sleeping giant. We woke it, and it rose with fury we could not imagine. 5 million soldiers died because we underestimated a species we thought we understood. Let this be a warning. Do not judge species by